Biggest mindset shift that holds businesses back, and you're probably in this boat in one way or another, is your emotions go into high gear when you do anything and you don't see immediate returns from it. We get this dopamine rush when we start investing in our business, and that dopamine says you're either scaling and succeeding and massively profitable, or you are just absolutely nothing. Go back to the drawing board, buy the next shiny object thing. And the emotions that hold you back are typically very, very false. And they're typically very, very premature. You should have no emotional reaction to anything until you've actually given it a chance. And most people get emotional when they spend the first $100-$200 and they're like, this thing isn't working. We don't spend less than $2,000 testing anything before we say, I think this has potential. Let's spend another 2,000. I don't even care to make an ROI on it. I just need to know, are we going in the direction that we need to grow? Are people taking the steps they need to take? And then I can fine tune that process, make it profitable, and scale the living daylight out of it. But I will never judge anything off the first $100. Most service businesses, they buy into something, they spend $100, they're like, whew, this isn't working. Let me go buy the next big thing. And they end up spending $5,000, $10,000 buying these big shiny objects. And then they only spend $100 behind each of them. And they're like, not working, not working, not working. And you're in this cycle, um, shiny object syndrome cycle. It is not a fun place to be in. I remember looking back at my first couple $100 that I spent, and I was getting leads in, and I got people on the phone. I didn't know how to sell anything, and so I was like, "Oh my gosh, this isn't working. These leads like just don't want to buy my thing." And I would start a new business, and I would sell a new thing, and I went down that path literally for years. Knowing what I know now, that very first thing that I did was a multi-million dollar business. I just never gave it a chance because my emotions went into high gear, and I was like, "Scrap, go to the next thing." And I went to the next thing after the next thing after the next thing until 5, 6 years went down the line. And then I got into an agency and I worked on businesses that were massive. And then I realized how the game is played. And most businesses that scale like there's no tomorrow, that grow and are actually a business um, worth standing on its own 2 feet. They do not care about how much money they make on the first transaction. They typically care more about, I need to acquire customers, and the less it costs me to acquire those customers, amazing, but I will make my money from those customers over the lifetime of that customer. And so a lot of businesses, they will typically break even on the first transaction. If you're really good, you will typically make a little bit of profit, not enough to go home and pay all your bills, but you will make enough profit to take that money and put it right back in the thing that got you that customer. Because when you make enough dollars from every transaction as it costed you to get that transaction. So if I spend $100 and I get a customer that gives me $100, I didn't make any money, but I am up one customer. I will now go spend $1,000 so I can go up 10 customers. And then I will go spend $10,000 so I can go up 100 customers. And by the time I've spent $1,000,000, I will have 1,000+ customers. And when those customers start coming back, and a percentage of them buy memberships, and a percentage of them buy packages, and a small percentage of them are going to ask for refunds and not want to do business again, that's totally okay. But very many patient customers are going to be coming back, and I'm going to transact in multiple other ways for multiple other things. That is the dream business for any investor to step into. When an investor goes into a business to buy that business, they are buying the customers. And they're typically buying the customers at a loss today because they're going to make a profit tomorrow. And when I say a profit tomorrow for an investor, that is next year. And many times it is 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the line. And so the biggest thing that will hold you back is, I didn't make $1,000,000 on day one. This thing isn't working. Let me scrap it. Let me go buy this big, big, big machine for $100,000 because then maybe people will come and, give me the big dollars. And you invest in all these things except for the one thing that actually gets you customers. And it holds you back. And so don't be so emotional. Give yourself a chance. Invest your dollars in the market, your dollars in your ads, your dollars into serving people is an investment. And if you are a good business, those people will come back, they'll have other things to buy, and they will transact. And that is where you will make everything you need to cover your bills, your employees, the whole nine yards, yourself, your family, all the stuff that matters.